Morning guys, or afternoon if you're watching this later on, whenever. It's Wednesday, which means I'll whip and chat. I've already got my drills set up, so I'm still on the 310s. How's everybody's week been so far? Mine's been pretty good. Weather's been glorious. And it's absolutely amazing again today. I do like the sun, but too much gives me an headache. So, if I sit outside, I have the sun canopy up. But it's still at the stage where it's really warm, but when you step in the shade, it's weird, it's quite chilly, but refreshing at the same time. But anyway, progress report. I had Tyler's first parent-teacher meetings last, I think it was Thursday. He's only been there, what, 4 weeks? I think that's what we worked it out. I've dropped another drill. That's what we worked it out to, about 4 weeks. And they all had nothing but praise for him. He's settled in really well, he's made some good friends. His English teacher said he's doing more than enough. But he said, when you've been in the job as long as he has, you kind of get a sense for people. And when he first met Tyler, when he first started there 4 weeks ago, he said he kind of got the impression he didn't like English. I confirmed with him. Tyler hated English at the junior school, absolutely hated it. But he said since then, he's actually, and these were his words, he said he's obviously made a mature, conscious decision to put his head down and give it his best shot. He said, because I can't fault him at the minute, he's doing more than he needs to do. So that was a bonus. Tyler was grinning his head off when he said it. Even though they all kind of said, you know, it's only been 4 weeks, it's still a bit of a settling in, getting into the routine of things. You know, they said his attitude to his work and whatever is pretty good. The only one, it wasn't even a negative to be fair, but the only one that said anything remotely negative, but it's not negative, was his French teacher. Now bearing in mind he's been at home for the whole of year 7 and half of year 8. I have never taught him French. The only bit he did was in the junior school before he left there. So I'd expect him to be a little bit behind. But she said the only issues I have, it's not so much with the work, it's that he doesn't speak up. If he doesn't understand it, he doesn't say. So we had a chat about that. I've told him he needs to start saying something, and if necessary, I'll buy him the necessary books for home, because unfortunately he's got French until he leaves secondary school now, so he might as well put in the effort and give it a go. But other than that, his attendance is 100% in the last 4 weeks. Oh, I keep dropping drills. And he's still enjoying school, so he never says he doesn't want to go. Which when he was at juniors, we did have a few times. Hell, even I pulled that one in secondary school. I don't feel well today, Mum. Well, she used to say, you're going in. If you're ill, they'll send you home. And that's exactly what I say to my kids now. But then I used to, oh, what was it called? the medical office. I think that's what it was called. And I used to go to the office and say, I don't feel well, and they'd say, go and take a seat in the medical office, we'll get the thermometer and check your temperature and all that business. And yes, I will hold my hands up. There was a couple of times I was naughty. And I put the thermometer on the radiator behind me until I knew she was coming. You know. But looking back, it wasn't the most sensible decision I ever made. Because then I ended up going back to college years later to redo my English, maths and science. And by God, it's harder when you're older. It makes me look back and wish I'd just got on with it properly the first time, because it's so much harder to try and, especially, not so much harder in the sense that the work's harder. I suppose in a way it is a little bit, because like curriculums change and whatever, but in the sense that I had kids, I had the other half, family life, and they always give you homework, so it was harder, but I did it. I upgraded my, now let me think. No, I didn't redo my English, I didn't need to, that was a C. I upgraded my science from a D to a B. That was really good, I was so proud of myself for that one. And I upgraded my maths, I think, from a D to a C. Or was it? No, it was an E to a C. But yeah, Tyler's still loving school, so he just needs to think wisely. We do have the odd fight about his homework. The other night it was art homework, and he didn't see the point in art homework. Whereas he didn't see the point in art at all. But like I said to him, some people, art is their life, so unless you go through that and experience art, you'd never know. But yeah, it's all good. He's still well enjoying school. He's doing better. His attitude's better, shall we say, to school in secondary school than his older brother. Even though he's landed on his feet a little bit now, he has actually done well for himself. When it came to school, everything was a fight, getting him to do his work at home, just getting him to stop being... He was a bit of a class clown, my eldest one. He thought that having friends, being popular and making your friends laugh was more important than, you know, being sensible in class, learning, getting your grades. So yeah, that was a constant fight with him. But I am proud now of where he actually is and how far he's come since. Because he ditched college as well. Oh, nuts. But he's made it work, so I am proud of him for that. Even though he goes home battered and bruised some days, you know, he still finds it rewarding, so that's all good. And I also know Kelly had a glowing report about her son because we were there together. So we're both proud mums. And since Tyler started there, apparently Jake's come out of his shell a little bit, which is really, really good. Because Jake, he likes to isolate himself sometimes. Tyler's brought him out a little bit, which is good. On a bad note, I sat Monday, most of Monday morning and a little bit of Monday afternoon. I was catching up on some YouTube videos that I've kind of got behind with, and when Mrs. Coffee's Mindful Mondays came on, I got my blanket out and I frogged it. All of, not all of it, I mean all of the bad bit, the helmet part. I frogged it all, ripped it all out while watching Mrs. Coffee's Mindful Mondays. Which was weird, but that was really nice actually, to sit and watch Mrs. Coffee and listen. She put some awesome music on her Mindful Mondays, so relaxing. So I didn't get stressed, which I probably normally would of ripping out a blanket. Because it's heart-wrenching, all that work you've put into it, and now you're ripping it all out. But yeah, that was actually really, really nice. It's nice to listen to. She always picks awesome music. And on a Monday, yeah, you kind of need that. I've been so behind on my videos lately. I didn't attend... I don't think I really attended anyone's live properly over the weekend. If I did, I just popped in and said hi. I've just had one of them weekends where you just feel like you just want to shut yourself off from everyone and everything. You just want, you know, your quiet, four walls, your kids, your other half, and a movie. And having Netflix, we've been watching quite a few movies, quite a few series too, so we've got so much to watch, it's unreal. We've got into, I think, a couple of series, and I can't for the life of me think what they are now. Oops. Chambers, that's one of them. Now I know Netflix, what they have on Netflix is different in America than what they have here. Kelly, of all people, knows that. When she was in America, in Mississippi, with her friend for the 2 weeks, she got into a series. Now, she already knew that Americans have different content on Netflix to us. And she knew she wasn't going to be able to watch all of it while she was over there. But she really heavily got into this one series. Now, her and, excuse me, her and her friend both thought, it's a bad one, that if she, no, not on there. Ah, I've just knocked some drawers on the floor. Yeah, where was I? I'll pick them up after. Her and her friend both thought that if she took Brenda's, which is her friend, her login and her password for her Netflix in America, that she'd have the same programs as over here. Yeah, she was absolutely gutted when she logged on via her friend's login and password. Nope, it's the same as her British Netflix. She was gutted. So it didn't work, so. But yeah, Chambers is a good one. The storyline's absolutely amazing. This young girl, 17 I think she is, has a heart attack. And she has to have, I've dropped another one. She has to have a heart transplant. And it all goes according to plan. But she starts having, I haven't got that far into it. I think I'm only 3 maybe episodes in. But she starts having... They're not flashbacks, they're not really visions either. But this girl died, obviously, to give her the heart. and she's been to visit her family, which is a little weird. And then her best friend at high school, because they've given her the scholarship that would have been for their daughter, they've given to the girl who received her heart. So she's gone to their school of choice, funded by the parents. And this girl that passed away, her best friend, was saying how she died, and I can't remember how that was now, but she's heard from someone else that that wasn't true, and she's having like these, we'll call them visions, I don't think they are, of this dead girl. She keeps appearing. She woke up to her lying on the bed next to her, staring at her. And I think she's been having sort of nightmares too. That's that one done. But yeah, that's about as far as I've got so far. And I've already pulled all my drills out ready. So I didn't have to bore you with tipping drills out. I've just knocked some of them onto the floor instead. So I have to get my light on my phone after and find them. Right, which one's this? 980, that's E. There is another series we've got into, but pass. I love Netflix. We've even cancelled our Sky subscription because we don't watch TV anymore. We just Netflix on, find a film or catch up with some series. It's awesome, Netflix is, and we're going to upgrade it now that we've cancelled Sky. Because if you upgrade, you can have Netflix on 4 devices. Is it 4? So the kids can have it as well. But they have their own account, no need to worry. So theirs is just, they can only access kid things. Tyler's a little bit older, I'm not so worried about him, but pick it up. I did my good deed for the week on Monday. I went round our local shop, which is Home Bargains. It's literally like 2 minutes from my door. And on my way out, I was just coming across the grass and I spotted this young woman with cerebral palsy. That never comes out right when I try to say it. But anyway, she was coming across the grass as she was going to the shop. She walked past me, I smiled, she smiled. And just as I was a few steps further down, I heard something hit the floor. I've turned round, this poor young woman is on the floor. Now, I don't know how other people can be like this, but I can't walk past and just ignore something like that, even if it's, you know, disabled. I can't do that. That's not the type of person I am. Hence, I used to be a carer for elderly and disabled people. Anyway, I goes back, even though I've got the kids with me, I put my stuff on the wall and I just tell them, stand there while I just help this lady. Now, she looked so disorientated when I went to her. Bless her, she looked, yeah, and distraught that she, you know, fell over. And I said to her, are you okay? She went, yeah, would you mind helping me up, please? Of course not. I'm not just going to leave her lying on the floor. But you'd be surprised because there was people standing right outside the shop. Now, she's fell. It's only a tiny car park, for goodness sake, from the door to where she'd fell. It was just a tiny little zebra crossing, and she was on the path this side. There was 2 or 3 people standing outside. They all did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, that makes me ashamed to call myself British, because I can't do that. And it grieves me that other people can. Yeah. So, I have my back pains and whatever, but it's funny when someone else is needy. I don't know, it's like the adrenaline kicks in and your pain just isn't there temporarily. As I started to lift her off the floor, this lady with a dog came over and said, "Would you like a hand?" So we grabbed a hand each and we helped this poor girl off the floor. And I said to her again, "Are you okay? Are you sure you're okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, my boyfriend's just being a dick." Those are the words she used. And I turned to look, and as I looked at him, he's further down the path on the wall. He looked the other way. And I'm like, "That's your girlfriend, and you've just blanked her and looked the other way knowing she's fell over. You heartless son of a..." Yes. Some people are so cruel. Anyway, I just said to her, "Don't mind him, are you okay?" She said yes. I picked her money up off the floor because I noticed it was behind her. I put it in her hand and she just turned and said thank you and walked away. And he just sat there like a... He's probably... Yes, I think he has got his own issues too, but it's still caring, right? You'd still want to go over and make sure she was okay. I don't know. But I'm not the sort of person to sort of march over and say, you know, "What do you think you're playing at? You saw her fall and you didn't do nothing. You didn't even come and check she was okay." I'm not that kind of person, so as long as she was okay, I was okay. But, you know, when something gets on your mind and you can't stop thinking about it for the rest of the day, yeah, it was a little bit like that. And weirdly, she was my first thought when I woke up Tuesday morning. I haven't seen her since. But I'd like to, if that makes sense. Just to make sure she's still alright. Because she did hit the floor with some force. I heard it. Just... how ordinary people can just stand there and... it's like they turn away, like, "I'll pretend I've not seen her fall," or kind of, you know... Heartless, absolutely heartless. Because I'd like to think someone would do it for me if I, you know, was in that situation. I have fell over a number of times, to be fair. Everyone used to say I was just accident prone. And I was, quite a lot. Just forever falling down curbs, and I was in hospital a couple of times from school, having fell over. But now that I'm older and they've said you've got hypermobility syndrome, all my accidents make sense. It's weird. But yeah, I'd like to think someone had, you know, come over and help me if I was in that situation. She was mortified. I think she was just trying to rush to get into the shop and away from the embarrassment. She was a lovely girl. Couldn't be more thankful. Mind you, as long as I'm that way and I bring my kids up to be that way, everyone else, They're just idiots. If they turn the other cheek or walk the other way, they're idiots. But saying that, my eldest one, he was 15, I think, when he'd gone out and he took Tyler with him. Tyler was 9, I think, at the time. I would have only let him out with Reese. And Reese was willing to take him, so... Anyway, they'd gone across this car park. Oh, nuts. And found a wallet. Now, it had got the bloke's ID in it. It had got over £200, I do believe. This is number 7, isn't it? Yeah. And him and Tyler actually took the wallet to the police station and handed it in. And I'm so proud, because it was the right thing to do. As it turned out, obviously he'd had to leave his name and address at the police station, so they could sort of say to the bloke, you know, he found it and whatever, he's brought it in here. He knocked on my door, I think about 2 hours later. I'm sure it was later that day. And he was so thankful, so thankful, because he said that money in his wallet had been his disability money for that week. And if he'd have lost it, he would have been up the creek without a paddle, as we say. And he said there's not many people who would have been that honest about it. Most would have taken the money and ditched the wallet. Yeah, which I'd probably agree with. But he didn't. And he actually gave him and Tyler some money just for handing it in. And then he showed us inside his wallet, not, you know, to be nosy, but his disability badge was in there, his bus pass was in there. And he said without all of them, he would have been isolated. He would have had no money for the week, you know. And to a 15-year-old at the time, you know, over 200 quid. I think that's how much he said was in it. That's the only reason we know. That's a lot of money to a 15-year-old. So the fact that he took it and handed it in, even he was amazed. That's why he gave them some money. And my son's face, my son's face is. They were shocked. And I said, you know, the right thing isn't always rewarding, but at least you feel better on the inside. You don't feel guilty for nothing, you know. It was the right thing to do. So as long as I bring my kids up to do the right thing, you know. Other people obviously never had that. And they obviously feel okay with turning the cheek. But yeah, I can't. That's why I used to be a carer. But it's weird how that came about for me, because it wasn't something that had ever entered my mind before this. But in 2001, when my mum was diagnosed terminal with cancer, I was only 23, I do believe. No, it could have been 24. Reese was 18 months old. My eldest one was 18 months old at the time, and the terminal diagnosis was made to my mum. And she went into a hospice for a little while, but ultimately she said, I want to be at home, I don't want to be in here. So it wasn't a family choice that she was in there, it was more of a doctor's choice. but she stated, I want to be at home. So the doctors arranged everything, a bed and everything for her to be at home, and the hoist so that she could get in and out of bed, and my dad could help her with it. And it was those last few weeks of my mum, because there was times when my dad had to go out and he wouldn't leave my mum on her own, so I'd go down and I'd, you know, go and help out. She was too weak to feed herself at one point, so, you know, she was spoon fed by us. And it was when my mum passed away in June of that year, I think it was June 21st, I want to say. It was when she passed away that kind of my career path took a change, and I'd seen what the Macmillan nurses and everyone had done for my mum when she needed it, that I decided, you know what, I want to give back too. So I went into mobile caring, and I cared for people who wanted to stay in their own homes. Whether that be because they're elderly or disabled, or, you know, it was varying reasons why they were having carers. And it's not that I didn't like the mobile caring, I did, I really, really did. But the thing I couldn't cope with was the varying hours every week. If one of your patients was hospitalised, you'd lose that hour's caring, so you wouldn't get paid for that hour. So every week it was up and down, and I couldn't sustain a family on not knowing what I was going to be earning every week. So one of the weeks I got asked if I would cover at a nursing home via the caring agency that I was working for, because they hadn't got enough staff, so they call on the home carers companies and ask if they've got anyone they can spare. And I did a shift at this residential and nursing home. Oh my God, I loved it, absolutely loved it. So from there I applied to the nursing home because at least my hours were guaranteed, and I got taken on there. And it's not all elderly, it is some younger ones who've perhaps had a stroke and they've lost one side of their body. But I met this really, really nice couple when I was in there. They lived together in the nursing home. They were both 91, I think, at the time. She'd had a stroke and lost the use of her left arm. She could still walk, but aided. And he looked after her in the nursing home. He didn't want to be away from her, which was so sweet. And they were such a lovely couple. Now, we all know what it's like when we're on our periods. If you wear pads, they really are not the most comfortable things, are they? Right? Now, the elderly, they can be incontinent, and they wear incontinence pads, which are like really thick, you know, period pads, and they can be uncomfortable. Now, when this particular lady was toileted, you'd have to go back and help her off the toilet and, you know, kind of pull her underwear up and straighten her dress out and what have you. And this one particular day, it was me. I went into her and she said she'd finished. And I helped her up off the toilet. She balanced herself while I grabbed all her necessaries, pulled them up, straightened them out. And I said, "Is that comfortable?" She said, "No, there's a little bit on the left that feels like it's folded over and it's uncomfortable." So I took the time to straighten out this pad. At the end of the day, she's got to sit there in it all day or until it's changed. And if it's uncomfortable, there's nothing blinking worse. Honestly. So I straightened it and I asked her if it was okay. She says, yes, that's perfect, thank you. And she said to me, do you know what? Nobody else does that for me. And I said, what do you mean no one else does that? I've dropped so many drills. No one else does that for you. She said, everyone else will just pull it up and walk me back to my room and they won't even ask if it's okay, if it's comfortable. She said, you're the only one who does that. But surely if you're in a caring job, that's what you're supposed to do. Care. You're supposed to be, is it empathetic the right word? You can empathise with them and you know what it's like to sit in something that's uncomfortable. You don't like it. Well, why do you expect everyone else to like it? But yeah, that really, really made my day, that did. So rewarding being a carer. But being a carer also takes its toll on your body too, because you're hauling people. You're hauling people around, in and out of bed, into the bath via a hoist or whatever if they can't get in themselves. I do miss it some days. The interaction, it's lovely. And the elderly can tell you some stories. They really can. I used to hear stories about snow and how over here in the UK we only have to have an inch or two and everywhere shuts. The schools, the colleges, they send the kids home. And yet when you speak to the elderly, when they were little, they remember walking to school in waist-high snow. And all it meant was they'd sit there in their coats for the day, keeping warm and still doing their schoolwork yet. You look today and a couple of inches and like the whole country grinds to a halt, which is laughable really. When back in the day, it didn't stop anything. Schools were still open, you still had to, trudge through the snow to get there. And makes me miss my granddad because he used to tell so many war stories. Because he was in the Second World War. He was a paratrooper. And he actually very naughtily lied about his age just so he could go into war, which it seems crazy to someone of my age. Well, I thought it was crazy when I was younger, but why would you want to put yourself in that position purposely? People were called up whether they liked it or not, yet you lied about your age to go into war. But, yeah. But he remembered things like it was yesterday, and which is weird. Not weird, but he had Alzheimer's. Just as he was going into his 90s. He did pretty well to get that far, to be fair. But he couldn't remember what he'd just eaten for tea, but he could remember very, very vividly his best friend dying in the war because a bullet had ricocheted off his belt or hit his belt and exploded some... I'm not actually sure what it was that he was carrying. It wasn't a grenade because whatever was inside it was just, my granddad's words, eating away at him while he lay on the floor screaming. And every time he remembered that story, he cried. It was his best friend, and like I said, he remembered it like it was yesterday. And then that then makes you think about what are these poor soldiers going through nowadays, what they see, what they mentally have to deal with. Because it's not normal, to watch people being shot in front of you or whatever. It's not something I could do. My heart's too big. I care too much. And it would break me, absolutely break me. I'll pick the drill up, you pain in the bum. I'm still enjoying this painting, it's really nice. Can't remember where it was last time you guys saw it, which would have been Sunday, I think. I haven't really done much on it this week yet. I've been too busy undoing my blanket, which I now have a massive pile of bits of wool that I've got to sort out, which has been there since Monday, so you can tell I'm not looking forward to it. It has just put me off doing the blanket, which is sad because I love doing those. I just need to motivate myself to get it out again. But I think I keep looking at the wall and I keep looking at the chart, and I'm thinking I need to change the colours, the greens, and change the black for maybe a dark grey instead. Well, not a dark grey, but a darker grey instead, so it doesn't stand out so much, and then see how we go. But it means I've got to take a trip to Wellington on my bike, which is about a 20-minute bike ride, depending on how fast I go. See my family say, how are you able to bike ride when you suffer the way you do? Well, that's because while I'm on the bike I don't suffer. It's the minute I step off it I feel it. And for the rest of the day. And then I don't sleep well that night, so I can't stop doing it just because it causes me pain. That'd just be like giving up. No, I don't do things like that. Only on blankets. No, I haven't given up on that. I've just got to motivate myself again. Kelly's just kitting up her last Diamond Art Club now, and then she says, I've got none waiting, none. That's just shocking. Oops. See, I order one before I know I'm going to run out, because I can't run out. It's just, that's not good. Ouch. 92. Oh no. I won't put that one away because I've got to pick them drills up. Where's my 3 tip? In front of my face. And also you'll notice, hold on, my video hasn't cut off today. I figured stop making silly mistakes where I have to pause the video or whatever and just record it straight up to YouTube. It works better. I don't know if you can edit it once it's in YouTube. If you go in, I'd have to do it on the computer I suppose if I did that. But number 5, where's that? 3801. Oh, right on top. Bright red. Oh, blinking pots. Keep snapping the lips off. Get down. Okay. Number 5, see? I hadn't even started and I already forgot what I was doing. That wasn't very straight. I'm currently waiting on 2 more diamond paintings to arrive. I haven't ordered any. I say I haven't ordered any for a while. I did order Diamond Art Club, obviously. But like nothing else. Like from AliExpress or whatever, so I've ordered them too. Being as... Oh! Pick it up. Being as AliExpress were having a sale last week, one of the paintings I ordered should have been £25. It seemed a little bit expensive for what it was, but I got it for £11 something. And the second one, I can't actually remember what it was before, but I got that for £8 something. They're both 40 by 50s. I won't tell you what they are, that'll ruin the surprise. But yeah, I get really impatient when I'm waiting for them to arrive. I start checking on tracking literally the day after I've ordered it. It's horrendous. And I'll check it every morning. Sometimes night time as well, before I go to bed, where my parcel is. One's actually in transit on the plane already. And I think I ordered them both the same day. But one was in the morning and one was later on. Because I ummed and ahed over the second one. I think I need some more wax. But the second one's a surprise. Because it's for Riley and he doesn't even know I've ordered it. Not for him to do, for me to do, but for him to have. I know he's into diamond painting, but not that much. Not for a 40 by 50. Even Ali's still pestering me for a big one like this. And you've got no chance. It takes a week to do a little one. Crikey. She'd probably have left home by the time she finished this one this size. Ugh. Wax. Wax on, wax off. Gotcha. In there. And I tell you what, the last few blinking days, no matter what I've done, I keep finding drills stuck to myself. I was walking around, because I was walking around barefoot for a little while the other day. I started to notice something didn't feel quite right under my foot. And you know when you think, it's really small, it's nothing, it's not hurting, but something just doesn't feel right, and you kind of just ignore it for a while. And then eventually it really got on my wick. So I sat down and I had a look, and there's this little pink round diamond stuck to my foot. Then later on, I think the same day, I found one stuck to my thigh. Tyler got up the other day and had one stuck to his, the back of his leg, the back of his thigh. And he says, Mum, how does this work? I don't even diamond paint. And I've got them stuck to me. I've got up with it, which means it's been in my room. No, it probably means you sat on it earlier on at some point in the day and it's just been stuck there since. It's funny, they're everywhere. Now, when all I did was my blankets, you'd find, you know, bits of wool everywhere. But at least then you can see, you can pick them up, put them in the bin. Diamonds, unless they're brightly coloured, you just don't see them, and then, yeah, you're finding them everywhere, stuck to your anatomy. And yes, I have even found one in my bra. When I've come to get undressed for, for a shower, or, you know, just to go to bed. I found them in my bra. God knows what I'm doing with them. For them to end up there, I mean. It's hilarious. I think the only person I haven't found one on yet is the other half. Oh, behave. Oh, and that drives me nuts. You put wax in your pen, and then, hold on, focus on this. Nope, it doesn't want to. Fine. And the wax goes around the outside of the pen, it spills. That drives me nuts. So you spend half your time tucking it back in. Oh, me and Kelly did laugh the other day about that though. As we found out we both do the same thing. Because I said to her, that's really annoying, you know, when you filled your pen with wax and then when you start using it, it kind of spills over the edge. And she went, well, this is what I do about that. And she showed me how she rolls the pen in her hand and tucks it back in. She does exactly what I do. You roll the pen and then you tuck it in. Sorry, I've knocked you. And I laughed because I do exactly the same thing, yet I've never said anything. It's quite funny, there's little things you learn just to make things a little bit easier. One went a bit wonky. There you go. I was watching Diamond Painting with Lisa B the other day, and I was laughing with her. She bought a Winnie the Pooh beaded cross-stitch keyring. And she said it was all Christy's fault, Crafting with Christy. And I left a message underneath saying, Christy's an enabler. And she messaged me back and said, talking of enabling, I've bought the Rose Angel, this, for Mother's Day. That's not my fault. So I'm enabling her now. But I hope she enjoys it as much as I am. Even with all the 310s, I'm still enjoying it. So I'll do a section, and the first thing I'll do is I will do the 310s. I always get the 310s done first out the way, followed by the 939s, and then I do the colours. And it doesn't bother me. So I do the checkerboard in the black and then fill it all in, as you saw when I started. I just find it makes it easier, it goes faster as well, and your drills lay straighter. Oh, there's another one. And another one. Oh, and another one. And I was thinking I'd finished. Nope, there's another. I know as soon as I put them away I'll spot one. Oh yeah, see, there's one. Oh, and another one. See? No, I think that's it now. Anyway, I've rabbited enough. So I think I'll leave you guys to enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to try and enjoy mine. Don't know what I'm doing yet. Oh. Jumping drills. That one's not even that one. That's it. Yep, so I'll finish this off a little bit later, I think. And I've got some drills to pick up off the floor. I know it's going to kill me getting down there and getting back up again. But they're dark as well. Being as I've got like a chocolatey carpet, these are like dark burgundy kind of. And they're hard to spot, so I have to put my light on my phone. I can already see two. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your days, guys. Day, you know what I meant. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Hit the thumbs down if you don't, whatever. Any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Or even email me. I'll leave you my email address in the description box. Take care, guys. Bye.